So, metal phones are back, my friends. I love this gorgeous new metal and glass dual tone, dual finish on the OnePlus Nord 4. You know what? It's giving me full Pixel 3 vibes. But I'm getting ahead of myself because the question that we need to ask is if the Nord 4 is a little late to the party when great phones like the Realme GT60, the Poco F6 and of course the Moto Edge 50 Pro all already exist in this price range. Well, I will try to answer that question in this detailed review of the OnePlus Nord 4 and at the same time compare it against the Motorola Edge 50 Pro, the darling of this price class. Hi, my name is Ashad. You're watching Trakin English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Let's start with this. The Nord 4 is definitely a looker. I actually love both the colors, Mercurial Silver and Oasis Green. Now with the jump back to the metal unibody design, OnePlus had to reposition the cameras so they are horizontal now, and a lot of the internal hardware also had to be repositioned. And if you ask me, I'm all for it because I'm all about that precision cut engineering and the amount of craftsmanship that goes into making this metal slab. And I'm saying this outright, the Nord 4 has to be the best looking, best feeling, best handling OnePlus phone since the OnePlus 7 Pro and the OnePlus 7T. At 8mm, it's of course 0.2mm thinner than the Edge 50 Pro, but the Edge 50 Pro is definitely lighter. I can actually feel it. And there's no denying that the Edge 50 Pro is also still quite a looker. And that's when I come back to the fundamental question once again. Do you like the flat and boxy design of the Nord 4 or do you like the curves of the Edge 50 Pro? I, for those who know me, like flat panels, flat designs, boxy designs, and of course, the Nord 4. But that was about the design and the looks of these phones. But when you talk about the functional aspects, both have their own advantages. For example, the Edge 50 Pro has IP68 rating, Gorilla Glass 5, and USB 3.1. In comparison, the Nord 4 has IP65 rating, which is not as good as IP68, and you get USB Type-C 2.0 port, and I'm not fairly certain of what glass protection OnePlus is using, neither on the back nor on the front. On the flip side, the Nord 4 has an IR blaster and of course, the alert slider. And this is the best alert slider that I've used on a OnePlus phone in a long time. Listen to this. Oof. Tactile feedback gorgeousness. Plainly put, OnePlus is the looker where Motorola is functionally more adept. And you know who else is adept? You folks. You know what you guys are adept at? Identifying and appreciating good tech content. So go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already because only 5% of you watching the videos are actually subscribing. I think that number can be higher, guys. Alright, now let's talk about the displays. OnePlus is a slightly larger panel, but it's a flat one, whereas Moto is curved. But both the panels are OLED panels where OnePlus offers AMOLED, where Motorola offers plastic OLED. And both the panels also have a 1.5K resolution. But I must say this, the slim bezels on the Nord 4 is actually giving me goals. Now with respect to refresh rate, Moto can go up to 144Hz, OnePlus can go up to 120Hz, and both of these are not LTPO panels, but you do get variable refresh rate. Now we checked the color accuracy of both the panels, and thanks to the Pantone collaboration, Moto's display is very close to neutral. It has a very low delta E. But OnePlus's display is not too far behind. It's also very well tuned. Now OnePlus is rated to reach 2150 nits of peak brightness when you're watching HDR content. Moto goes up to 2000 nits. And of course, when we saw HDR videos on YouTube, the higher specular portions were slightly brighter on OnePlus. And in more natural conditions, outdoors, again, OnePlus gets slightly brighter. And you know, the difference is so tiny that my efforts to actually find out a difference in the brightness levels feels like a pointless pursuit. Very similar to my pursuit of trying to find a good biryani in Pune. Doesn't exist. Now both of course do come with stereo speakers, but Motorola's Dolby Atmos tuned stereo speakers do sound louder and richer as well. But on the flip side, haptics on the Nord 4. You know it, I know it. Extremely tight, extremely crisp vibration feedback, definitely better than Motorola. Now OnePlus also has Pro XDR display, and essentially what this does is that if you have any HDR photo or any HDR video and you play that back, or if you check that out in the Photos app, you will notice that the specular highlights get really bright. I hate it. You know what? I've never liked it on Samsung's Galaxy S series and iPhones as well. In fact, especially when you're watching Instagram videos and the brightness goes a little too bright, oh my god, it's very annoying. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. What I do like, however, is the Aqua Touch feature. So if you have wet fingers, even then the display will work. no problem. Now, as for the performance, there's no doubt that the Nord 4 is better than the Motorola Edge 50 Pro because you get Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 3, Snapdragon 7 Gen 3, LPDDR5X RAM type, LPDDR4X RAM type, UFS 4.0 storage, UFS 2.2 storage. And therefore, in every single benchmark that we ran, whether it was Antutu, whether it was Geekbench, or even CPU throttle, the OnePlus Nord 4 actually performed better than the Edge 50 Pro. But in a 3D Mark wildlife stress test, we noticed something. The GPU throttled slightly more on the OnePlus Nord 4 and it got hotter as well, which was replicated in our real-life Genshin test as well, where we play the game at highest graphics, 60 frames per second for 30 minutes. In that, while the Nord 4 did have higher average FPS compared to the Edge 50 Pro, which is of course expected, it did also get hotter. But you know what? The Nord 4's metal back also cools down really fast, and that cold touch on your hand reminds you immediately of your ex-girlfriend who was cold and heartless. Now, talking about battery life, the Nord 4 is a battery monster. So in our testing, the Nord 4 had a screen on time of 8 hours and 50 minutes compared to the Edge 50 Pro, which lasted about 6 hours and 48 minutes. Now, the Edge 50 Pro's battery life has held up well for a phone with a 4500 mAh battery, but this 5500 mAh unit is mad. Now, the charging speed supported by the Edge 50 Pro is 125 watt as opposed to 100 watts by the Nord 4. And considering that the Edge 50 Pro has a smaller 4500 mAh battery, it takes about 19-20 minutes for a full top-up, where the Nord 4 takes about 28 minutes. It's still very good. I have no complaints per se. But the Edge 50 Pro does have an advantage, and that is wireless charging. Now, with respect to network performance, there's literally nothing separating the two apart. Because you get support for a great gamut of 5G bands, you also do get 4x4 MIMO on both, so you get wider coverage as well. That's not it, you also get support for NFC on both the phones, so tap to pay will work. Software-wise, Hello UI with Android 14 on Motorola has a head start over Oxygen OS based on Android 14 on OnePlus. And that's primarily because Motorola has a cleaner install at setup. Nord 4 has apps like Agoda, Myntra, Candy Crush, Word Connect, and a few more pre-installed. OnePlus is slowly moving over to the dark side, and if you really want the clean and mean experience of OnePlus back, then you will have to raise your voice for it. And secondly, Moto also has a set of useful features. For example, you of course get Moto Secure, you've got Moto Gestures, you've got Family Space, you've got Moto Unplugged, and of course the awesome Smart Connect, which by the way for me is definitely a game changer. And apart from that, Moto also has one AI feature, especially on the Edge 50 Pro, that must be spoken about, is the fact that you've got a style sync wallpaper, which I'm not a fan of. OnePlus also does have a few nice features. Two things that I really like is the file dock and the global search. And with the Nord 4, OnePlus has also added AI audio summary and AI notes summary. Plus in the Photos app, you get Magic Eraser, which basically erases unwanted objects. You can do that. But Auto Pixelate is the one that I really like, because with the Auto Pixelate feature, it can actually find sensitive information like phone numbers and screenshots and automatically pixelate it. There are two more advantages on OnePlus, and the first one are the very beautifully tuned animations. These animations are definitely better than what Motorola has. You can see it for yourself. Secondly, OnePlus is also promising with the Nord 4 4 years of software updates and 6 years of security updates, which is 3+5 on Motorola. And we all know for a fact that OnePlus has a steady record of offering updates on time. Motorola doesn't. Alright, it's time to talk about the cameras. Now, the primary camera on both is the 50 megapixel sensor, but it's LYT600 on the Nord, which is a downgrade from the IMX890 that was there on the Nord 3, by the way. Also, the ultrawide on the Nord is an 8 megapixel unit. You get a 13 megapixel ultrawide angle camera on Motorola, along with autofocus, which lets you do macro shots as well. And the main advantage on Moto is, of course, that 10MP 3x optical zoom camera. Anyway, that's specs. Let's talk about the photo quality. Let's jump into it. So, what we notice is that OnePlus's algorithm captures slightly more natural details compared to the oversharpened look of Moto. The Nord 4 also brings out the finer textures in the image. I'm glad that despite using the lower spec LYT600, OnePlus hasn't messed up the algorithm. This also comes in handy in low light scenes, like you can see here. Take a look at the finer textures on the building wall or the bicycle for proof. Moto's added contrast does make the darker portions look better, but OnePlus is technically superior. In color reproduction, both have their own problems. OnePlus boosts the reds, but it does it aesthetically. Moto ends up messing up the greens, and this is in the natural mode, no less. Also, Nord 4's color science consistency with the ultra-wide-angle camera is way better than Motorola's. Although OnePlus's HDR algorithm crushes the shadows quite a bit, you can see a lot of noise as well. In that regard, definitely Moto is better. Now, if you're talking about the highlights, I think both are equally well reproduced. Now, in shooting people, we continue to see the same problem. Motorola hasn't fixed it, despite us mentioning it over and over again. The Edge 50 Pro does exhibit yellow skin tones. As for the Nord 4, it has red skin tones. So none of these get the skin tones absolutely right all the time. But the skin tones on Moto are absolutely true to life when you shoot with the 3x camera. And you also get more details primarily because, of course, you get an actual physical sensor as opposed to a digital zoom on OnePlus. And Moto's real advantage is actually the 3x camera, because when you actually shoot portrait shots with the 3x camera, it looks stupendously good. And you can also use that 3x for taking shots of, landscapes as well, where you want to punch in closer to a subject. Now, if you do want to take portraits with the primary camera, of course, OnePlus does it better, in my opinion. It does look very good. And it goes without saying that Motorola does capture more detailed images with the ultra wide angle camera compared to OnePlus, and you can use this camera to go close to a subject to capture macros as well, which the OnePlus cannot. Now, how about the ultra wide in low light? Yeah, well, both are bad. As for the selfies, Moto is the clear winner here. You get better details, more accurate skin tones, better HDR, and superior low light selfies too. Now, when it comes to video recording, OnePlus is the clear winner. It can shoot at 4K 60 FPS using the primary camera compared to 4K 30 FPS on Moto. So you get higher bitrate video, better quality audio, great stabilization, good HDR, just overall better video quality, which is also great in low light as well. Definitely better than Moto.
Video camera quality of the Edge 50 Pro and the newly launched OnePlus Nord 4. The Nord 4 can shoot at 4K 60 FPS where
But when it comes to selfie videos, Motorola's selfie videos looked better than OnePlus's. Truth be told, the OnePlus Nord 4's cameras were better than I expected them to be. But Moto pulls ahead because it's more versatile. But I'm specifically talking about photo performance, because if you're looking for a great video camera under 30,000, the Nord 4 is it. So yeah, the new thing on the Nord 4 is the good thing on the Nord 4, and that is the design. And I sincerely hope that OnePlus continues with this metal design language for the Nord series, so that the Nord series can distinguish itself from the rest of the phones that are available in the market. Apart from the design, you've got a good display, you've got great performance, the video recording quality is pretty good, you get mind-blowing battery life, you also get a very fast, very fluid phone with great software animations too. But the best part, and the reason why I think that the Nord 4 might not be too late to the party, is the palatable price tag of 30,000 rupees, which is the starting price tag for the 128GB variant. By the way, that variant has UFS 3.1 storage, so keep that in mind. The Edge 50 Pro's advantage continues to be the fact that it has premium features that a lot of other phones do not in this price range. So USB 3.1, wireless charging, IP68 rating, Pantone validated skin tones, Pantone validated display, a good camera performance, along with that 3x optical zoom camera. So with the specific pros and cons identified for both these phones, which one would you pick? Let me know in the comments below. Gun to my head, I'd probably pick the Nord 4 primarily because the performance headroom works for my use case. Having said that, the Edge 50 Pro is still a very well-balanced, well-rounded premium package. Alright, so that's it from me. I hope you guys liked this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.